I think we have about 4 minutes, 5 minutes, so we can take questions from the audience, if that works.
Hello, good morning. My name is Morgan from Mexico. And have you ever somebody have told you from when you went to investors that what you were doing was not disruptive? That you said, well, what you're doing is fine, it's cool, but it's not disruptive. What was your reaction about that?
Yeah, no one wants to take the risk of saying that what you're doing is disruptive and cool until it's clear that it is. And people, by the way, look out for the people who take that jump early. Those are the people you want as investors. Those are the people you want as support as advisors. I've always said that, you know, especially at early stage, it's different when you get later to a more institutional round of funding. But in early stages, you want people who see the purpose in what you're doing and believe in it fundamentally and actually see what you're doing as potentially being disruptive. In the case of Jawbone, we had come up with technologies in a space that had been around for 40, 50 years, which is signal processing, speech processing. It's a very dark and gray and underground kind of space. It's sort of physical mathematics. It's pretty mundane for most people. So when we went to speak to the engineers of Motorola, who'd been working on this for 20 years and hadn't had a breakthrough in 20 years, they weren't very keen to admit that what we were doing was revolutionary. So we had a lot of people who were experts, and I mean the experts of the space going,
always beware of experts.
Beware of experts.
Because they'll tell you not to do it.
Yeah.
Because they think they know more than you do.
I'll give you an example that I think is quite amusing, which is when we were trying to open a bunch of doors in 2001, 2002, there was no funding in the Valley. There was hardly any funding in the Valley at that point because the air had been sucked out by the dot-com fizzle. And we ended up, completely by chance, ending up being connected with the Pentagon, with DARPA, and a couple of other agencies there. And I'll spare you all the details, but basically what ended up happening was we ran into someone whose job it was within DARPA to find disruptive random things that could change the communication space, particularly around battlefield communications. Now, we never set out to do that. We never set out to get any funding from the Pentagon. But we opened that door, and it provided us with funding for actually 2 years before the VC market kind of picked up again. But what's interesting is when we went into that program and we got together with these groups of people, almost everyone in the room was like 55, 60. They'd been doing this stuff for 30 years, and we were like 26. And we had squeaky voices giving our presentations. So, you know, to give you an idea of sometimes, I think the lesson from that is keep opening the doors, but also beware of experts, as Fadi says.
I mean, he's one of ours. Be careful.
I'll do my best. Fadi, I believe genuinely that you are one of the few people, if not the person, who influenced forming what we call the ecosystem, the entrepreneurial ecosystem in the Arab world. Still, we're not there, and we still have a long way to go. I would love to hear more insights from you. Where do you see us going? What needs to be done? What are the main challenges? Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, look, that there is, again, as I had spoken, we were speaking with Alex earlier about that sense of mission. Maybe as the people that have made it in the region need to step up and understand that there needs to be a sense of purpose for the well-being of the society that you live in. And it's so essential today. I mean, the people that went down to Tahrir Square were basically not necessarily revolutionaries. They're basically young people that said, we were fed up with the state that was not providing and delivering on its promises. So those of us that have the ability need to understand that our well-being is irrelevant if we decide to stay in our countries, is irrelevant outside of the well-being of society. And once you understand that, then you will be able to create that ecosystem, that when people are going to step up and say, we need to change the way that things are done so that people are better off. That's the most revolutionary thing that you can do. While you don't think it's revolutionary, but when you're affecting people's lives by building ecosystems so that you create entrepreneurs that are creating jobs and solving societal solutions, then you are revolutionary at the end of the day. So that ecosystem needs to be done. You need more people to step up and say, we want to do it, and we have a sense of purpose in doing it.
There's also an aspect of someone at number 10 Downing Street said to me, he's like, employing people is potentially one of the best things you can do for people. Give them a job, give them a purpose.
Absolutely. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.